Well, hello, friends. How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. Fabulous. What's up, Rhonda? Shelby? I'll be turning this life off shortly. You know, we don't do professional things over here by leaving a ring light on. Ooh, Shelby, thank you so much. I'm not sure whether this headband is actually meant to be a headband or is it meant to be the kind where, like, I know, like the beauty gurus, to push your hair back to do. I don't know, but I liked it so much. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to use it for whatever I want. Oh no, fear's taking over. Why? Hold on, let me make my screen bigger over here. Give me 1 second. Oh, and I better. Thank you, Patricia. See, I have to turn that ring light off. I have to. I can't barely see. Okay, now we're in basic bitch mode. All right. Thank you, Patricia, for reminding me. Let me see. Oh, and hold on. I'm going as fast as I can. There. That should be better. Okay. Nothing feels to change in 3D. Job, money, SP, etc. Okay, we have to stop telling that story. And I know you already know that, and you probably don't need me to tell you that. But we can't keep agreeing with the things we're not loving. Now, that does not mean we can't be aware that they exist. That's not what I meant by that. So in other words, let's say that all the areas that you just described, job, money, whatever, and let's say, all right, in this moment, you are not loving or you are not satisfied with what you're experiencing in those areas. Fine. We can be aware of that. But it is the decision, the internal decision we're making from there that matters. Our conditioning, our programming, is to see the outer conditions and believe that we are that person. I know that sounds crazy. So, in other words, okay, I'm not satisfied in love, I'm not satisfied in money. That's who I am. And that's the habit we're breaking out of doing that. So, let's say this. Maybe I don't like my nail polish, but I really do. But for the sake of conversation. So I don't like the nail polish, pretend. I could be aware that I'm not loving my nail polish and I want to change the nail polish. But I don't let that tell me that I'm stuck with this nail polish forever and that it's never going to change. No, I know I'm going to change the polish. I know I am. So you might look at that and say, yeah, that's because, Kim, that's something you can control. That's something you can do in the physical. Well, when it feels like there's nothing we can do in the physical, and, this is manifesting, so we don't have to get hung up on that, meaning having to do something in reality. No, our job is to not let what we're experiencing in 3D reality change our mind over who we are. So you can still, at the end of the day, be claiming that you are, and then, answer that question. So in other words, who do you want to be? A woman in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship who's experiencing financial abundance. Obviously, you use the words that feel good to you, but that's who you are. And you can know that you are in the reality where that will take place, despite what the senses tell you. Neville Goddard mentioned, wild abandon. Abandon the self, right? Self-abandonment, and doing it with conviction. And really that just means we're not letting outer conditions dictate to us who we are. Because they're not, unless you decide differently. The outer conditions, what you're experiencing in reality, they have no true bearing on what your future moments are. Now, remember, time is not linear, but just to make it easier to understand, I'm saying future. So your money situation might be the complete opposite of what you want. But what you're seeing in 3D reality cannot stop or prevent you from experiencing the opposite of that, financial abundance. You can be as specific as you'd like to be as well, whether that's, you want to say a multimillionaire, whatever feels good to you. You are source, or you are the only cause of what we experience out here. And that doesn't mean, oh my God, everything's your fault. It means change where you're focusing, reality will change. Now, it might not change in the way that you expect it to, but that doesn't mean it's not leading to your ending. So let's say that you're manifesting to be a multimillionaire. And maybe right now your, checking account balance is in the negative. Now, our old self would probably look at that and be like, yep, hasn't changed yet. Nothing's working yet. Still in the negative. That's the habit we're breaking out of, is that right there. When we are experiencing things in reality that are the opposite, and especially when they don't feel good, I know we hear that word ignore everywhere. It's not really ignore. It's I can know that the bank account is negative, but I'm no longer going to let that negative balance tell me that there's no other possible, future for me, that there's nothing else that can change because this is still negative. No, that's what we're breaking out of. We're breaking out of continuing the story. And you might not understand why things still look the same in reality, but put this into perspective. Let me say it this way. We hear the phrase, you are source. You are source. You are God. You are higher power, source energy, moon means. You are, the universe. You are that. You are reality, right? We hear that. But our logical human mind, in truth, can't even begin to perceive what that actually means outside of theory. It's the infinite is so vast that our brains can't even compute. Do you see what I mean? So when things out here look like they're not changing, they're not moving, and you've been doing your job to be identifying with the self you're choosing to be, then those things that don't make sense, they are still somehow connected to you getting your desire. They're not threats, they're not blocks, they're not stopping you from experiencing anything. I'm not telling you got to love what you're experiencing, because that's just not true. You don't have to pretend to love what's happening. You don't have to deny that you're not loving it, that you don't like it. It's okay to know what you want and what you don't want. What matters is, are you letting it tell you who you are, who you really, really are, not what the world of sense is. Okay? Ali, Ali, thank you very much. Kim, I need a zhuzh for my body manifestation and WL. What do you mean by that? The WL. Hook me up, Ali. What were you saying? You are very welcome, Deepti. And hoping that I said your name correctly. Weight loss. Okay. See, Ali, you know darn well that I'm the person you got to spell stuff out for, because I won't get it. I'm sure you've heard the story of North Carolina. Someone bought a super chat and was, trying to describe what's going on in their SP situation, and they put no NC. You would think that maybe because I have a manifestation channel, I would know that NC meant no contact. I absolutely thought they were trying to say North Carolina. That was the first thing to pop into my mind when I saw NC. North Carolina. Yes, so you gotta spell stuff out to me. I did say it right, Deepti. Yes. Good. Alfie, I hope you're having a good day. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to Ali. All right. Ali, when you want to make a transformation in your appearance, try your best to not see your body as being more difficult to change. I mean, duh, that's an obvious one, right? But chances are, kind of like when someone is manifesting a celebrity, specific person, and they see that celebrity as being up on a pedestal, difficult to manifest because of what the 3D world says from the logical mindset. We tend to put appearance changes in the same kind of scenario. We put those appearance changes right up on pedestals because they feel difficult. They feel like, you're all right. So weight loss is one. I don't know if you're manifesting anything else, but let's just pretend you wish you had, I don't know, hair all the way down to your bum. So you look in the mirror every day and, maybe your hair's shorter right now. So that seems like illogical to think you can manifest that, right? But no, it feels illogical because of conditioning, because of our beliefs, right? Why do we age? Because that's our conditioning. We believe that. And so we manifest aging. And I know that there are some topics that just seem too out there for us to accept that things could be different if we all could drop the beliefs, the limits, because there are no limits. No matter how much we want to defend that there has to be limits, no, everything can be explained away as something, from imagination. Everything is. So, number one is when you're looking in the mirror, you don't want to be in the habit of pointing out, hasn't changed yet. Still don't like this now. And, with the weight loss, still the same size, nothing's changing. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do it. You don't want to keep staring at the things you're not loving and agreeing with it. Do you see what I mean by agreeing with it? Again, it's kind of a gray area because it doesn't mean you can't be aware that maybe you're not the weight you prefer. So you can be aware. We can accept it is what it is, but it's changing. It's changing. Physical body is no different than any other manifestation. But because we look in the mirror every day, it seems difficult and it's really no different than when someone who sees you every single day is probably not going to notice the weight loss as much as someone who hasn't seen you in a month or two, right? Think of it that way. You're seeing the change in your body every single day, but it's not standing out to you because you're with yourself every day. You manifest the body every single day. So I also hope that you are not, in the 3D thinking of all the rules around weight loss and using that against yourself. Like beating yourself up for, oh no, I had too much sugar today, or I had too much this today. Don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to go out and splurge and make yourself sick to your stomach. I'm saying you want to get out of the diet industry thinking, because we don't want to judge our, see? I had a feeling you were, Ollie. Can't. You are someone who is conscious. You're awake. You're awake to what your thoughts mean and what power they may hold when you give them the power. Try to think of it as your conscious thought, your conscious decision holds the same power as the Word of God. Now, I know for some of us that feels resistive, and maybe it's because you've had some kind of, religious upbringing, but we're not talking about the God that religions kind of teach us. We're talking about the real, the all-knowing, the God that is experiencing reality through each one of us. That's what I'm referring to. So your decision, your heart's intention is the same authority, same, powerful thought. So not what the outside world tells you, like you have to follow this strict regimen in order for you to lose weight. No, that's what you're backing away from, is believing that if you don't follow every single one of those rules, that it won't work, because it's not true. And what will happen as you keep bringing your focus back to the version of yourself that you want to be, your habits will naturally begin to change. You'll notice it. You'll be inspired to new things, and you're suddenly going to realize you're losing weight and you didn't have to lift a finger. I'm trying to think of a better example. I've lost over 100 pounds. The first 80 of those, I really didn't do anything. I scripted, because this was in my early days, I scripted what I wanted, and my life naturally began changing. And it really didn't catch my attention. And remember what I say, and I swear by it, but a lot of the times we don't even realize we are experiencing our manifestation, or why we experience circumstances here and there. But when you look back in hindsight, you see how all the dots connect together and make sense why we experience them. So my life started changing. And, I used like that intermittent fasting example. My life started changing. I started getting really, really busy throughout my mornings and afternoons. And I naturally, without restriction, meaning without forcing me to do anything, just wasn't eating until dinner time. So that first 80 pounds just came right off without me efforting or being aware of any efforting. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That's what's going to happen for any of you too. I'm not saying it's going to happen through intermittent fasting, right? I don't know what your unfolding is. None of us do. Just like I didn't know that was going to be my unfolding. So try your best to not be getting on the scale and not looking in the mirror and tearing yourself apart and not making yourself live by a strict set of commandments that if you don't do word for word what those commandments tell you, diet commandments, that the weight won't come off. No, that's a completely different version of yourself. That's not the version of yourself who's going to experience the weight loss effortlessly. But if you start identifying as the version of yourself that, is the size you prefer, is the size you've always wanted to be, use words that feel good to you. If you just start bringing your focus there and just live your life, just like I did, I just lived my life, you're going to drop the weight. I'm telling you. Might sound too good to be true, but the 80 pounds came off that way for me. And, I ended up going on to lose 40 or 50 more. I haven't gone on the scale in over a year because it used to trigger me. But inspired action happened. You see what I'm trying to say? I hope. You want a Dylan James transmission? Or you mean transformation? Then use those words. Use those words. Tell yourself that that's who you are, that that's what you experienced. Without forcing yourself to, live in restriction. But if that phrase resonates, bring your focus there, but no more judging yourself. Yes, detaching. Yes. Thank you, Manifesting Maven. Same to you. Happy Mother's Days to all the mothers out there. And fathers who play the mom role too, and to you. Because I know there are some parents out there doing it on their own. Saba, thank you very much. Kim, just wanted to tell you that I love you and thank you for always answering my questions. And yes, my ex-husband and the 3P did all work together. Not anymore. Ooh. Oh, really? I'm so nosy. I'm dying to hear why. You're welcome, Ollie. I am dying. And first of all, thank you very much for that super chat. That was very nice. Of course, I'm going to always answer your questions. Of course I will. Oh, gosh, I am dying to know what happened, what unfolded. Just to all, everybody here, whatever it is you're manifesting, when you're getting yourself upset because you're not seeing movement or you're not seeing things change, maybe reality seems to be the same boring ass reality that it was the day before and the day before that and the day before that. I know I have felt like I was living Groundhog's Day over and over again. If anybody doesn't know what we mean when we say Groundhog's Day, we're talking about the movie Groundhog's Day, just for what it's worth. But a lot of times when things, things seem like mundane, boring, repetitive, it's because we aren't seeing that actually stuff is happening out there. Like the chess pieces are being moved around the board to your benefit. So they might not be in your direct eyesight experience, but things are always happening. Like God universe, your subconscious mind doesn't take a day off. They don't get the lunch break. It's always working, always. And just like I said earlier that, our minds can't even truly process what the absolute, the infinite is. We've got our human logical idea of what it might mean, but that's not even touching it. And that's honestly what's happening with our manifestations. Our minds really can't logically conceive or perceive how a manifestation is going to unfold. And like we get examples all the time. So we got the exclusive lives channel membership. Although I do love when people bring their success stories to the hot seat in the Advanced Manifestors group. I love it there. But the exclusive lives channel membership is solely for success stories and tips and tricks. We hear the success stories all the time where the way someone's manifestation came in, it never dawned on them. They never thought of, the way it unfolded. We hear it all the time. I know I've experienced it. I would say, again, hoping that I'm not forgetting anything, but anything that I can think of right now in this moment as I'm talking to you of what I've consciously manifested, I can't think of one that unfolded or popped in a way I thought about. They all came in ways that took me by surprise. So when you're getting yourselves, sad or disappointed or frustrated because you don't think things are moving, no, it's just that how your manifestation is going to come. And mind you, it starts the minute you say yes to it. You might not just have that clear vision of how it's going to unfold. So things are happening for it to your benefit, and you're just not aware of it. And I think that is where some people get themselves in a cycle, is when the specific person manifestations and the money manifestations are the ones that I see it the most. And I was guilty of it too. So when I was manifesting mine, I remember being frustrated when, of course, I didn't think reality was changing. And it's because I had like this one set idea of how he was going to come in. This is going to happen. The most common one I hear is someone, waiting on the text message or the call from their person. And listen, you're human. Of course, your logical mind is going to throw that at you as an idea of how it's going to unfold. But some of you get yourselves upset because you're not getting the texts, you're not getting the calls. So you're thinking, well, then that must mean nothing's changing. That must mean this isn't working. And then you make yourself feel bad because then you even go deeper as to, well, why aren't they? Why aren't they? Why aren't they calling me? Why aren't they texting me? Maybe your manifestation, the day it's in your face in reality isn't going to be through your phone or through your laptop. Maybe your specific person is going to show up in your reality in a way that you would never expect. That's why I say, like, pulling over to get gas, stopping at the grocery store. You don't know who you're going to run into. I've heard the wildest stories, I'm telling you. So don't make yourself feel bad. Franny L, thank you very much. You're glowing today, Kim. Franny L, your content has been next level lately, too. Franny L, it's like you leveled up and we're leveling up with you. Thank you for always helping us remember who we are. Franny L, thank you for always being supportive and loyal to me and my channel. Thank you. It's much appreciated. Look at you being so lovely to me today. Thank you. And listen, I want you to think of it as leveling up. I do. Is certain pieces of content changing in your reality? Is the old, what I would refer to as like baby manifesting stuff, kind of falling out of your awareness? Because that would be evidence for you. And as far as anybody new, leveling up, we don't mean it in a negative way. We don't mean it in, you're just not at this level yet. We don't mean it like that. We just mean that the understanding of consciousness, let's just say, I don't think any of us are going to have the full understanding of that either until we croak. I think it's going to be a forever learning and, expanding our awareness, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. There are TikTok videos about I am chosen versus I am choosing. What's your take on this? I haven't seen those videos, so I'm not really sure. But if, I'm just making a guess, if these videos are talking about one is better than the other, I am chosen versus I am choosing, I think that the person making the content probably means well. And I can see, I'm assuming here, this is just me assuming because I haven't seen them. I get what that person is saying. I am chosen, so I am waiting on someone to choose me versus I am choosing. Well, in one respect, we are choosing. We're doing that moment by moment. That's how we decide what state we're in, what version of self we are, by choosing and selecting. Because, you know, we can split hairs here. We're not creating, yet that word is a word that a lot of us have used in this community. We're not really creating. Creation is finished. We are choosing. We are selecting realities. But if that video was on, you know, a debate versus which one should be used in a, say, specific person manifestation, then I would say, no, I think that person is splitting hairs. Kind of like the splitting of hairs with saying, I'm going to have this manifestation versus I have, right? We got the content that says, oh, if you say I'm going to have my manifestation, you're putting it out in the future. You're waiting on it still. And I think that's kind of splitting hairs here. It's a bit ridiculous. The tense of the words that feel good to you, they don't matter. If you believe in your mind, if the thought that pops into your mind, going back to I am chosen and I am choosing, I am chosen. If when someone who's manifesting a specific person who clearly is trying to focus on the version of themselves that is experiencing being chosen, being shown up for by their specific person, if them saying that phrase, I am chosen, implies to them in that moment that that means that I am selecting the version of myself that believes he or she is chosen, is shown up for, is supported, is loved by their specific person, then that's the only damn thing that matters. Listen, I mean this in the nicest way, but let's just keep it real. Manifestation is a hot topic, and there's a lot of voices making videos, and they're sharing from their own perspectives. But you need content. We need content. Content needs to be made. Videos need to be made to keep a channel going, right? So when we run out of ideas, what usually happens? We start splitting hairs on defining words. We use the words that feel best for the individual. So if the person was making the video just trying to define what choosing and selecting realities mean, fine. But telling someone that, you know, you're really not going to manifest your specific person if you say, I am chosen. You should say, I am choosing. I am choosing that. How about we could say both then? You could say both. Some people want to have the experience, the physical 3D world experience of their specific person showing up, and like an act in a play, showing up and saying certain words and doing certain behaviors that looks and appears like they are choosing that person. Some people want to have that 3D experience. Some people want to have the experience of their specific person showing up at their door and saying, I can't live without you. I can't be away from you. Please take me back. Some people want to experience some dramatic things in their unfolding. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're allowed to want what we want. Now, maybe along that person's journey that they're not really looking for that anymore. Maybe they just, I don't even care about that. I just want to be in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. Boom, done. Fine. Do you see what I'm saying? We're all individuals having individual journeys from all different places in consciousness, meaning where we are, where our understanding of all of this is. So I just find, again, all that's going to do is confuse someone, and someone who is probably already not very confident in their manifestation journey is going to hear a video like that and assume, shit, I've been doing this wrong. I better stop saying this phrase. And that's probably the reason why I haven't gotten what I wanted yet, because I said I am chosen and instead I am choosing. See what I mean? Say the words that feel good to you. Give me safe telenovela. That's what I'm talking about. I am too, manifesting maven. Saying something's going to happen works amazing for me. It's the law of assumption, not church. Oh, say it louder, Elena Joe. We don't make up arbitrary rules here. Oh, mic drop. It's true, though. You're right. If saying I'm going to happen implies to you that you will be experiencing your manifestation, well, that's the same tense still, but you got what I'm saying. Then use that. Use whatever words feel good to you as an individual. This reminds me kind of the topic of arguing over the word obsessed. Obsessed. Oh, you shouldn't use that word. That means stalker and terrible things. You shouldn't want anyone to be obsessed about you. That says something about where you are in the love department in consciousness. That sounds like one of those attachment styles. You should not go anywhere near that word. Well, when you got people like myself who think obsessed to me sounds like, oh my God, he's so in love with me. He can't live without me. He loves being in this relationship with me. Fun, lighthearted. You know what I'm saying? Like, settle down, Beavis. It doesn't have to be that serious. You know, what someone else believes the definition of a word is, and I don't mean the dictionary definition. I'm saying we use slang, don't we? We I'm gonna instead of I'm going to. We occasionally do talk like that. I mean, I'm going to argue over words. Jesus. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, what do you think? The phrase, the word, the affirmation you're saying, what does that phrase mean to you, the person using it? That is absolutely the only thing that matters. What someone else's opinion on that word is, or that phrase, or that affirmation, is sincerely useless information. Useless, because that person isn't manifesting for you. So your opinion, your definition is all that matters. Yes, writer chick 2381. Yes, if you add now to going to affirmations, that implies to me it's gonna happen now. We make our own rules. It all works if you think it works. I agree. Once again, thank you very much, Franny L. Okay, is it Yoli? Yoli? Did I say that right? I wonder. Hi, Kim. Love from Spain. Oh, well, love from Central New York, USA. If everyone is our reflection, does that necessarily mean they reflect what we think or what we believe that person believes? Like the Muggle friends, limited things. Okay. So, all right, I think you're asking me. So let's say your Muggle friends, say you're manifesting a specific person, and let's say your Muggle friends are saying, ditch his ass or her ass. Ditch it. You shouldn't want that person. You shouldn't want him. Get over him. Pick somebody else. You've got a friend saying that. And let's say the specific person maybe is talking to someone else. So there's a third party. So your friends are saying, get over him. He's moved on with someone else. Stop wasting your time. He's in love over there, or she's in love. Not going to come back to you. That is what I would label as that was a reflection of your own fear. And it could be the fear of, not chosen. You're not going to get your person. Your manifestation isn't going to work. You're not going to be able to manifest that SP. It could be any one of those. But yes, I would say it's that. I think that when we talk about reflection, mirror, in reality, that I think we should use different wording because I think it can be confusing. We hear everyone as you pushed out. Does that mean if someone's acting like a turd in front of you, that it's a reflection of you? So you must be a turd. Like, that's where I think we overthink it. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. I could say, do you have a belief that there are just some turds out there? More than likely, you're going to say yes. I, for example, have the limited belief that, and it is limited, and I own it, that there are just some assholes out in the world. There's some. They exist. So if I hear about someone being an ass, I know it's because I have the belief that they exist. I don't look at myself to think, what about my self-concept? What about what I think about myself? What does that mean if I hear there's an asshole? I don't go there. I'm aware of my belief. You see what I'm saying? So if you have unsupportive friends who are trying to deter you from manifesting something, or if they don't understand manifestation, yes, I would say it's just simply the reflection of your fear, the fear of not getting. Or if they said something specific, like I was using the SP example, let's say that your friend said to you, your SP doesn't love you, has never loved you, and never wants to be with you again. And let's say you yourself have had the thought, like, oh my God, I'm afraid he's over me. I'm afraid he never loved me. I'm afraid he doesn't want me ever again. So your question is that a reflection of what he's really thinking about me? And that's why she said that? If we were to, connect the dots of where that came from, it came from your original belief, more than likely the not good enough belief, more than likely. I mean, I don't know for sure. I haven't ever talked to you, know your situation, but no, all of those little pieces were the reflection of that one belief. Now, what you believe, the specific person really believes about you, is he thinking those thoughts? Yes. Yes. So if you know that you've had fears and doubts that aren't very great, don't panic, right? Don't panic. That's only one version of your specific person. I'm saying the one that isn't showing up the way you want. It's only one version. You're selecting a completely different version of him. You're selecting the version of him that, or her, that wants to be with you, that does select you. So, yeah, try not to overthink it. Your friends, and especially if we already know that they are muggles, you probably have a belief already that they're probably going to be, maybe thinking you're crazy for going after what you're going after, manifesting what you're manifesting. And, they don't have the understanding. So what you believe about your friends plays a part in how they show up, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope you're not getting yourself, upset if your friend said something you didn't like. Nothing's permanent. That's what I meant. Nothing's permanent. Thank you. You are welcome. All right. Babs. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, there we go. Babs, thank you very much. Hi, Miss Kim. Just wanted to say I love you and ask any advice on moving out of a blah, semi-downstate. Thank you very much. I love you too. All right. So we're feeling like we're in a blah or semi-down state. Now, let's pick that apart. Is it just the feeling or the sensation of being blah, kind of down? Is it just the feeling of it? Or is there particular thoughts that are running around your mind too? So if there's, yeah, strange and oddly entertaining. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Oh, God, I'm in one of my moods today. If it's just the feeling, truly, number one, be easy on yourself. Don't assume that, feeling blah is going to destroy anything manifestation-wise. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to be in a good mood, to be full of energy, to be happy, to have a lust for life? What would it feel like? Bring your focus over there. Get into the imagination thinking about what it would feel like to feel happy, full of energy, or whatever words feel good to you. Now, if it's because certain thoughts are coming in and, like, for example, when I was manifesting my person after the second solo vacation, I felt blah a lot, if not daily, because I wasn't satisfied in my life. I was very sad to be apart from my person. So somebody could have asked me how I was feeling, and I would have told them, yeah, fine, no, fine. But really what would come into the forefront of my mind is, I'm not friggin' happy. I'm upset. I'm not happy with my reality, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was really thinking, right? So if it's something specific, we got to be easy on ourselves and try to coax our way back to remembering who we are as source, as knowing that. And that we're always in connection. We're always in connection. So you're saying you're having emotions? Let the emotions and feelings out if need be. Let them out. At the end of the day, when we're feeling that way, first of all, I'm just going to say too is, sometimes a good old-fashioned nap, a little snooze, can also rejuvenate ourselves. It can. But I'm not telling you got to go take a nap. I'm just saying sometimes we feel better after a good old-fashioned cry. Letting it out. When you're back to center, when you're feeling calm again, right? Which for me, what helps me get back there is just closing my eyes and telling myself, I am. To clear my mind as best as possible. I am neurospicy. So my mind feels like it's never completely quiet. But when I try to bring my awareness back to my beingness, that helps. And from there, when you feel like you're ready, I would start what-ifing myself back to where I want to be, the reality I want to be in. What would it feel like if everything was going exactly the way you wanted right now? Do you think you'd still feel blah? Do you think you'd still feeling down? Can you think of that reality without it feeling resistive? If everything was exactly the way you wanted it right now, this is for anybody. If any of you manifesting, if you had the thing or the person that you're manifesting, and let's say right now, it's here. It's sitting right next to you wherever you are. Your specific person sitting right next to you right now. How would you feel? Now, I'm sure someone's going to say, happy, excited, joy. Okay, good. Press fast forward. Let's go a month from now. Specific person is still with you. the money, the health, whatever it is you're manifesting, you still got it, still here. How would you feel? What would life look like if your normal everyday was to have the thing you want? And you just pondering, answering my questions brought you there. You were just there. You were just in that reality. And that's as simple as it is to walk yourself back to the state, the version of yourself, or the reality you want to be in. It's as simple as that. I would feel content and balanced. All right, then. So if you did, any of you out there, respond to my questions, if you did, and you were able to get yourself there, now you know what it would feel like if you were living that life, if you were in that version of yourself. Now you know. So now you've had no... Shh. 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 Okay, just double checking. What if we're having more... Wait. Whoops. Oop, thank you, Michelle. Okay, maybe. What if... Okay, hold on. Okay, maybe. What if to having more fun or more activities in my life, have not tried manifesting more life, friends available to enjoy life with? Okay, then we need to we got to go back. We got to go to that reality. What if you had all the energy in the world, you had people blowing up your phone, wanting to make plans with you? What if your calendar was filled every day with stuff to do? How would that feel? What are some of the fun things you want to be doing? Think of those. Going to concerts. That's one of the things we like to do. Go to concerts. Think about the last concert you went to. That's a very, very simple way to move yourself back to whatever state you want to be in. It's also showing you that you have access to any version of yourself at any given moment. When we're feeling unhappy, frustrated, feeling blah, and we believe it's because of reality, then let's try to put it back into perspective that out here is the after effect of an old version of yourself or an old state of consciousness. And you have access to the reality you prefer, the reality you want to be in right now. So let's go back. Let's go back into the imagination. And as far as me using that wording, getting back into the imagination, you're in imagination all the time. You're either using it for your benefit or you're using it for shit. What you're pondering on, what you're marinating in, what you're thinking about. There is dialogue going on in your mind all the time. All the time. Even when you think there's no dialogue going on as you're watching TV or watching a video, yes, there's dialogue. You might be very involved with what you're watching, but there's dialogue. So when we feel yucky about our reality, we've got to bring ourselves back to the reality we want to be in. If it feels too resistive to go back to your desired reality, let's ask ourselves, first of all, why? Why does it feel resistive? And what answers come in our mind when we ask that question? And that might be something we need to address, as in decide to let go of and think better for ourselves. But I'm telling all of you, it is never because you can't have the thing that you're manifesting. It's never that. You know, I know a lot of us were conditioned with you just can't have what you want, or not everybody can be a millionaire, Kim. No, when you're thinking so logically and literally of a tiny little, only one reality version of yourself, you're probably right. But you're definitely not someone thinking of the fucking infinite. So we don't have the small-minded, logical conditions anymore. We are free of that stuff. Free of it. So it's never because you can't have your desire. Bad Kitty, thank you very much. Kimmy, I love you. I love you too. Thank you for all you do for us. I feel judged after spending the morning and now afternoon with you. I am so happy. I am very happy that you're feeling judged, Bad Kitty. I enjoyed talking with you. And I enjoy and very much love and very much appreciate your support of me in this channel. You have been here since literally day one. It is appreciated. I appreciate everyone. But Bad Kitty was like here with me from day one. Wish fulfilled state, thank you very much. Oops, hold on. Yesterday's video, you touched on even those who aren't experiencing text in the 3D. Thanks for that. You are welcome. I'm certain we all have soul connections with our SPs because the desire is truth. Please remind how desert silence is movement. Is that a normal catchphrase and I'm just not knowing it? What's desert silence? What's desert silence? How come I don't know what that means? What's desert silence? I'm thinking of a damn desert right now. I'm thinking of a desert full of sand and I don't get the silence. Quiet time. Is that what that means? Man. I'm sorry, wish fulfilled state. You know, you can't even use catchphrases with me anymore. I didn't know. Desert silence. Who knew that meant quiet time? I learn shit every day. Okay. So, the fact that we're focusing on that desert silence, outside of the obvious and the logical, like you would know if you were on the phone chit-chatting with your person or not. I know that. But we don't want to keep identifying as someone experiencing desert silence. And I don't give a shite how long it's been. Because I know that's going to be the next logical thing that anybody listening is going to think about. Yeah, but it's been this. It's been this amount of time. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it's been 100 years. I don't care. And by I don't care, I mean, so what? That is not going to be a valid enough reason for you to believe that you can't have this desire. That's what I mean by I don't care. But it does tell me just how much we're afraid of that time. Just how much we are very afraid of the silence and what meaning we're giving it. That's what has to be addressed, is the meaning we're giving that silence. Now, I know what silence used to mean to me. Silence used to mean that person didn't love me. That person didn't want a relationship with me. That's what I used to correlate it to. Well, we need to discover, all right, why though? Why do we believe that? Why do we think if it's quiet, that means that there's never going to be the love connection? Right? We learned that from somewhere. I'm not saying we got to go deep diving through our history. I'm saying we learned that from somewhere. And we can right now in this moment decide that that is no longer true for us. That we don't have to be afraid of the quiet. This is not a way for you to be okay with silence. I'm not trying to get you to the place of loving the silence so that you never manifest your person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we're going to stop being afraid of it, so therefore we can stop focusing on it and keeping it in the front of our eyeballs all the time, so we can stop identifying as that version of ourselves. So we can freely think about our life with that person and have that be in the forefront of our mind, our fulfilled existence, our fulfilled life. So, and listen, you know, if you're new here, you might not have heard me say this before, but anybody's been at this channel for the amount of years it's been up, there is no such thing as no contact. There is no such thing. It's not possible. And for anybody that believes it is, you are thinking tiny, teeny tiny. And you're thinking of physical blocks. Okay? It's not possible. If it was possible, then nobody would ever manifest anything. Ever. Ever, ever. Okay? And I think we've got plenty enough success stories. Okay, we do. Throughout the community, there's a lot. You are in connection at all times. You have no choice because you are that consciousness. Okay? So, wait, what? That's right, Michelle. They can't help but constantly thinking of our beautiful, sexy, sassy, saucy, unforgettable asses. That's right. That's right. I like the sass, Michelle. I like it. But it's true. Now, listen, if you're, I mean, I don't know what you were talking about, Wish Fulfilled State, about the other creators and all that kind of stuff. But if they're not showing content that you're liking, then don't be watching. Switch right on off. You have that option. Don't let other people bother you. If he wanted to be, would comments always pop up for me. And X, your username just says XX. You know immediately that when you see that kind of a phrase, that kind of a comment, what that is. That's leftover bullshit, victim state, dating advice that no longer applies to you. No longer applies to you. The moment you became conscious that you can manifest, that kind of language stopped being a part of your reality. As in, meaning having it apply to you. But I'm sure, just like me, you have a belief that there are dummies who say things like that out in the world. So we're aware that that phrase exists. So we don't have to be afraid if it pops up in our reality. It's not a secret sign to get you to give up on what you want. Just saying. Kim, what did you see and feel in the void before your SP showed up? The period right before, I felt, I don't know how to explain other than very much, again, I'm talking about right before. I knew. I didn't, you know, I could say in the 3D logical sense, I didn't know how I knew, but I knew. I knew. I knew I was there. I knew exactly what reality I was in. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was living it already. I know that sounds crazy, but that is exactly what I felt. So I wasn't necessarily thinking like I had to do stuff to manifest it. I didn't feel like that anymore. I felt like I was already there. And that, like I say in the videos, like everything I was doing, everything I was experiencing was because of that manifestation. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I mean it. I had no doubts whatsoever that it was happening. And it was like a knowing. It was pure, absolute conviction that I was done on the manifesting it train. I knew it. So I was in total freedom. I was living my life and I wasn't fearing at all. Me too. I don't affirm anymore. And I'm in the moment all the time. Yes. Ziomara. Yes, that was me. And I love that you got specific with, I wake up happy and excited. I felt like I had a new lust for life. Not that I felt, oh, my life sucked before, but I felt like a brand new person. Brand new person. And I know this is a cliche thing to say, but I loved life again. I loved life again. And my 3D really wasn't changing. Nothing changed yet. I just had this new reinvigorated feeling. And it was amazing. The best ever. So trust it. Trust it. It's your knowing. Yes, I don't really affirm either. I'm like, this is the reality I want to be in. And everything shows me it's true. Yes, it's Brandon Cortez. Yes, that is how I felt. All right. Kevin Donnelly, thank you very much. What's your perspective on allowing what is to the point of enjoying it, knowing that I am the identity that has all desires without logical proof? Kevin, I love that I did not see your question before I just answered Ziomara. Don't kill me, girl, okay? Trying. Kevin, I love that I hadn't seen that because I would say to you, that is how, like what I just described to her is my experience of that thinking. That's what it was like. And I think of that mindset, that state of consciousness. You're allowing 3D, you're allowing what is. I'm just spelling it out for anybody just hearing it. You're allowing what reality is presenting to you. You don't see what's in reality as limits or blocks to your desire. You see it truly as a part of this is everything that's supposed to happen. There's nothing left to do. I'm almost done. My boyfriend's home and he is making faces on the side and I'm trying not to laugh. Okay, I'm trying to keep it serious here. All right, so what's your perspective on allowing what is to the point of enjoying it, knowing that I am the identity that has all desires without logical proof? That was me. That is exactly what it felt like to be that, how I answered the previous question. It was, I knew there was nothing more for me to do. Meaning, not even like I finished my homework, all the boxes are ticked, I'm done. I'm saying it wasn't even that. It was, what homework? What has to be done? What do you mean I got to do something? I'm there. I'm her now. So that I can live. I can go out and do things like I would any other time, but doing it from a whole new, different me. I'm sorry if it sounds crazy, but that is, I don't know how else to describe what it felt like to me. It was such a, this is who I am and who I've always been. Self state. So, Kevin, if that is where you're at, in my opinion, from my personal experience, I would say, this is a good thing. That is exactly how I felt right before it fully showed up. I just know that I'm there. I don't give a fuck what's appearing, movement, signs, like you don't. You don't. And I know you're not exaggerating that. That is what it feels like. You just don't. Trying to think of a different analogy. I can't think of anything better than that. You know, when you think about anything else that you've ever just known, you just knew it. You didn't know how you knew it. You just knew it. That is what it's like to be there. Like literally for me, just because of my own journey, right? It was the first time that I ever felt like I really clicked in my understanding of what it feels like to live life freely, without worry, without fear, without doubt, without the pressure, without anxiety, without, that my old self would say, that need to find the next thing to worry about. Total absence of that, and total freedom, and happy for no 3D physical reasons, just happy. That is what it felt like to me. So I think this is wonderful, Kevin. Wonderful. And Xiomara, sounds like you're at that place too. It's like love has crowded out all fear. God, you are better at with words than I am today. Yes. Yes. When you know, you know. Yes. Sounds like some success stories becoming friends. Yeah, I have to agree, Paige. Oh, it's so exciting. All right, my friends, I must go. I must go. It's apparently dinner time at my house. So, thank you very much for all of you being here. Thank you for joining me on this fabulous Friday. And I'll probably see you tomorrow. And we'll do another live stream. If not tomorrow, definitely within the next few days. Okay? I love you all. I'll see you all probably tomorrow.